Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. So there's a lot more to this NFL controversy than meets the eye. A lot more. This is huge beyond belief. And I'm trying to explain. I want you guys to understand that Donald Trump has a knack for putting his finger on the pulse of what's really the underlying issue to the issue. And it's uncanny. It's like when Gorka said, this guy's timing and his sense of direction and stuff like that is just unbelievable. And I really and truly have to believe this because, for example, when Donald Trump mentioned immigration, they thought that would crater his campaign, his career in politics. It didn't. When he talked about the Muslims and them being terrorists and started really pushing the issue, people thought it was going to kill him. It didn't. He started talking about trade. He changed our whole concept of trade. I'm included in that one because I hadn't thought about trade too much. Hadn't thought about the U.S. economy is what we should be using in our arsenal. And I could go on. When Donald Trump makes a mention about it, you think about it differently. You think about it seriously, and he doesn't back down. So prior to the NFL weekend over Sunday, he was like, "Yeah, here's what we're gonna do. Blah 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 with the NFL. Screw them. It's boring." And he brings up these controversial subjects. Well, they get lots of concussions. Really? Them running into each other get some concussions. They make a lot of money. They make the decision: do they want to run into each other? How many people have dangerous jobs? We have dangerous jobs all over the country. If you look at, in the scheme of things, the NFL is probably far less dangerous than certain other jobs. I'll give you a good example if you need one. Try being in the military. Try being a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, airborne, whatever. Tell me how dangerous their jobs are in comparison to playing a sport that you love playing. You're making millions of dollars. Let me tell you, the SEALs don't make that much money. It's glamorous in the sense of saying, I'm a Navy SEAL, but they don't make that much money. Here's Donald Trump going, you know what? What? You're wussifying the game. You're not even making it interesting, etc. We've come a long way in the NFL from the days of old guys playing, well, Kevin, they're bigger and stronger now. They were big and strong in comparison to one another then. Okay, so two guys can run at 20 miles an hour now versus two guys running at 18 miles an hour then. Wow. That 4 mile an hour difference is really going to make a difference when a guy can fold up his helmet and stick it in his pocket. Shut up. You don't know jack. I just felt like doing that. That was my Mark Levin moment. That moment sponsored by Mark Levin. Oh, man. Donald Trump has done us a huge favor. They say politics, Kevin, should be about wonkish issues. Let's make it about, tax policy, and let's look at, how we're going to govern and our foreign policy and all this. No, it isn't. That's not what politics is about. Politics is about people. And they either feel like they're being represented or they're not. Somebody's winning in the battle of all of this. And let me tell you who's winning. It is the left. They've won the language battle. They are now wanting to convince you that the oppressed people in the NFL are a bunch of black kids, young black men who are making millions and millions of dollars who want to bring to your attention that their brothers out there in the real world are being gunned down by cops. Neither one of these stooges, not a single one of them is going to sit down and take a knee over the number of blacks killing other blacks. How many of them are going to sit down and take a knee over the number of these NFL players that are whooping their wives' heads? How many of them took a knee on behalf of women when Ray Rice beat the crap out of his wife in an elevator? Huh? Or when Ray What's-His-Face killed his baby mama? Or when Ray Lewis shot somebody at a nightclub? How many of them are taking a knee for those causes? Or the amount of crimes that black people commit against the society in general? Are they going to take a knee for that? No, they don't take a knee for that. They want you to believe black people are oppressed. Yeah, so oppressed that we're gonna make our statement. It's really fun to watch multimillionaires decide they're going to take a stance and support each other. Wife beaters. And by the way, support a guy who, as I've joked, Colin Kaepernick has more, he's less close to the black experience than Doogie Howser. Talking about being black. Half black daddy runs off. He's raised by an Italian mother. That makes him Italian. Then she puts him up for adoption. He gets adopted by white people named Kaepernick. That makes him a white boy. And then they put him in the lap of luxury and help him become so good at athletics, probably sending him to camps and all this other crap. He gets into the NFL and suddenly he needs to find his blackness. No, Colin, you need to embrace your whiteness. That family that picked you up and took you and adopted you. Because it wasn't a black family that adopted his sorry butt. It was a white family. So now he wants to be down for the cause. Oh man, black people, I did being oppressed. Because he wants to impress black people. It's like the girl who dates the bad boy because she wants to make her parents who raised her right understand you did it wrong. I'm going to show you. I'll show you I can tame the bad boy. So Colin Kaepernick now, he wants to show his parents and show the world. And he gets a bunch of multimillionaire leftist pukes to come in with him. But how many came in with him? 32 teams. 1,600 players on the active roster, and roughly 100 of them protested. Pittsburgh Steelers, Seattle Seahawks, and somebody else. So 3 teams that made up the majority of the protest. Everybody else was pretty scattered, right? Now, consider this, folks. Just let me help you with the math. 100 divided by 1,600, roughly 6.8%. Let's just call it 7% for shiggles, okay? 7% of the people in the league protested. 7% of the people in the league of a league that is 68% black. So it's one thing for the white boys to not do it. The non-blacks. That would be roughly 32% of the league. But 7% participated. You couldn't even get black people. When left to their own choices, the blacks in the league overwhelmingly said, I ain't down for this nonsense. I'm living the dream. I live in the suburbs. I'm good friends with my cops. I got cops in my family. I know cops. By the way, it was from the scene from A Few Good Men where Nicholson says, how are you going to try to tell me how to do my job? You live under the comfort of my protection, and then you want to tell me how to protect you. That's essentially what the cops are saying. You live under the comfort of my protection. Every one of these games, there are police officers protecting this heavily dominated black industry, football. And then when you leave, we protect you. You go to your neighborhoods, we protect you. And then you want to tell me how to protect you. When somebody that looks like you does something in a neighborhood that's far away from you, you now want to tell me how to be. How disingenuous of you. Let's go back to the numbers. 7% of the league decided we'll take a stand. 93% of the league said screw you. And given the percentages, if 68% of the league is black, that's a lot of black folks that said to other black people, screw you. I ain't participating. I'm not part of this ruse, this farce, this nonsense. I get paid a fat check. I get to go home to my wife and my kids. I'm not fighting. Look, don't get it twisted. We play a game. Does it have its risk? Sure it does, but it's not a risk that the cops take. BLM out there trying to convince young black people that there's a conspiracy against them and it's from the police. While members of the BLM are the very people that the blacks better be the most afraid of. 7% of the NFL took a stand. Congratulations, NFL. That's what we're talking about here. 32 teams, 1,600 players. By the way, the Texans stood 100%. I bet there were other teams that were close to 100%. Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, we'll talk about him in a bit. But he kept his team in the locker room. Except one guy, Alejandro Villanueva, who said, no, I'm an Army Ranger. I stand for the flag. But we'll talk about that because there's some interesting developments in that story. See, the left can kill the Confederate flag, folks. But they can't kill Old Glory. See, Old Glory, you can talk about, it's racist, it's that. No, Old Glory has welcomed everybody. Old Glory gave us a black president. Worthless as that she-devil was, Old Glory gave us a black president. Old Glory's given us blacks that are doing amazing things. And what Trump did was masterful, and it has far-reaching impacts I'm going to go into. And I'm skipping around a bit because my mind is all over the place on this subject. Fox wanted me to come up to New York and do a panel discussion on this. I just couldn't get the timing to get it done. But this is an interesting topic on so many levels. It really is. The far-reaching impact of this, most people don't understand. Luckily for you, you're listening to the Kevin Jackson Show, and I'm breaking it down for you. I want you to I'm serious. This is truly, I feel like one of the best shows I've ever done, and we've done some good ones because I think that the insights here are going to be astounding to you.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.